globe.
Well, what's so interesting for me is that I remember when I was in Eramuchi, the what's considered, for those who don't know, is considered like the capital of Xinjiang. It's like the
Mm.
most, well, it's kind of
It
like
is the
the,
capital.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's the capital. It's very well visited. It's like one of the big tourist destinations. It's an incredible. It's beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful place, and you do get it's very diverse. You get a really good picture of what Xinjiang is like. I mean, all the different ethnic groups, everybody. You go to the Grand Bazaar. It's a really sweet experience.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I remember getting off. We took a rail there. We took the high speed rail there
Mm.
from a metro.
From Xi'an.
No, we were outside of Dhaiphong and we had to
All right.
travel somewhere. I don't remember
Mm.
where,
That's
but we
probably
had to,
human.
and
Human
we,
is the
and we
city
had to
there.
travel
Yeah.
by high speed rail. It didn't take that. It took, like 5 hours. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And you know, right away, the police were very interested in a foreign delegation with
Yeah.
all sorts of people from different parts of the world, and they were like, mostly Western part of the world. They're like, okay, what are you doing? And they came to me and it was like, are you Turkish? And I said, no. It was like,
Yeah.
what English say? Like, are you Turkish? And I was like, no. And then they're like, okay. And then, it took like 30 minutes, check our passports, it was a pain. But
Mm.
at the
Mm.
end of the day, in locations such as these transportation hubs, airports,
Yeah.
this is where these attacks were happening, right?
Yeah, as a result of that, you're safer in that region, and that's why so many people go there. They know it's a safe region. And there's another thing about China. You can criticize China all you like for its nationalism, its patriotism, and I get that. Some people don't like the fact that Chinese people are very patriotic, but they're going to Xinjiang now because of this. They're saying, well, if Xinjiang people can't get their cotton sold into the Western market, we'll go there and we'll buy it. And it doesn't replace a massive export market, but it does help the local people. And that's what Chinese people do. When someone says, we're not going to go to Xinjiang and do business there, the Chinese people say, well, you're not going to do business with me either.
Yeah.
And so Xinjiang's business domestically has picked up. It doesn't replace the exports that they've lost, but the Chinese people will do that. And you make a comment about this security. You get off the train, and it's the only place I've been to where you arrive and go through security. You get
Yeah.
off the plane and
Yeah.
go through metal detectors. Hang on,
Right.
didn't I just do that at the other end? And it's really strange. You're going through all these metal detectors to get into your hotel, to get into McDonald's, if you want to go into McDonald's. Not that I do, but if you wanted to, or KFC, you go through a metal detector. And the funny thing is, usually there's a security guard, and you look at him and he's like this.
Yeah.
He's
All the
fast
time
asleep.
at all the train stations. That's how it was. They're just like, it's
Yeah.
very benign. It's much more,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like, in the United States, I remember coming back because it was one of these surreal experiences where you come back and people are worried about you. They're like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah.
That place is dangerous. And I remember just one of the only frustrating things I had about the security in Iramuchi in general, because it was more heightened, was that, like, as we were walking, we were trying to travel around, we were trying to go on our own and, walk the city streets. And, like, if you pass a certain point, you have to go through the checkpoint again. And it
Mhm.
seems like nothing when you think about it in broadly, because all they do is they take your bag, you throw your bag through like this
Yeah.
turnstile thing, and that's about it. And then you walk through, and that's it. It takes like
It's
a couple
it's a lot
minutes, but
quicker than the airport. It's a
yes,
lot faster than
exactly.
the
But
airport.
it's
And the
like, oh, yeah.
Chinese people, they have we're travelers, so I have this is my wife's card, my passport
Right.
and stuff are in there. Chinese people just put their card onto a thing. Or I wouldn't even need to take it out of here. Just put that down, beep, and we're through. That's it. For us Westerners, it is a little slower. Yeah, there's no problem. There's no issue about that. It's slower, and I'm not going to argue that it's fun. It's not. It's not fun at all. And I'll be honest. When we cycled out of Urumqi and spent 10, 12, 14 days, I can't remember exactly. You get to this place called Xinjiang, which is the border of Gansu, and you do breathe a sigh of relief because from tomorrow It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to go through security. It's it's a really and it is benign, but it's definitely all encompassing, and there is no there couldn't be a CIA agent in left in Urumqi. There couldn't be, and there'd be no people working for the American government in there. But here's the interesting thing: the American government haven't been there, and neither have the British government. And I write to British politicians on Twitter all the time and say, you represent my area where I come from, and you're anti-China. I get that you're anti-China, but you're talking about something which is not true. I am one of your constituents, and I'm telling you, I've been there. I never get a reply. And in fact, sometimes the members of parliament block me. Just for a reasonable question. I'm never rude on Twitter. I once said to someone, "F off," but I did that for a reason. It was related to my son had cancer and passed away, and someone made a comment, and I gave him, "You can get lost with that." And so the next day, I deleted the tweet and apologized to my followers. I told someone to F off last night. It's very rare for me to be rude on Twitter. Very rare, and I'm not rude. I get blocked by a lot of people because I ask a question. The BBC block me, ABC block me. A lot of these media, and Adrian Zenz, of course, has blocked me. Several of the ASPI people have blocked me. And they all I'm doing is asking them to clarify a point. Or sometimes I say, no, that's not true. And that's not true. And I'll tell them why it's not true. And then I get blocked. So it's not really a case of, Jerry is a pain in the butt because he's giving us misinformation. Jerry's a pain in the butt because he's asking us to prove what we do.